Policy Committee. It's 9 o'clock and we have started. So first up, we have the survey results for extended learning. All right. Okay, there's no. Is there a defined about of time? No. Oh, is there a defined? Okay, what am I? Okay. Is there a?
I think it should be a note.
Oh, okay. Is there a defined amount of time that the student would participate? Currently, we practice that students may do an independent study for elective credit during the summer and require a minimum of 60 hours logged, along with a questionnaire and slideshow. 5 side minimum. Is there a limit to how many credits can be earned in this fashion? It seemed reasonable and consistent with the current employment focus credit. Well, this is okay. All right. I do not see any issues, although it is much wordier than the actual law. But I wonder why you cited case law at the bottom. Constitution of the State of Idaho. That's not case law.
Cited the wrong law? I don't know.
Religious test and teaching in school prohibited when there is nothing remotely similar in the context of the policy you've written. Okay, interesting. Why are you changing these fines and charges? Why are you changing this? The original policy covered hardship cases. The new one doesn't. The old one had stipulations regarding graduation, transcripts, diplomas, etc. in school property, books, Chromebooks, uniforms, etc. is not paid for or returned. We struggle now, as it is, to get school property back because the high schools will not make the students responsible for said school property, and the elementary and or middle schools. That is. Oops. Okay. Open too many buttons. I am. Alright, I'm gonna do that. Because it likes me.
It does that periodically. I don't have to. Like,
whatever. Yeah. It's fun during a board meeting. Say okay. Your struggle now is it is to get back, yada yada yada. Okay. When the elementary and our middle schools have exhausted all possibilities and the limits, and the items still attributed to the student continues to show up on their account. Okay, we've lost hundreds of dollars of books over the years because students don't return them. The high schools won't force the issue, and we are left having to replace those books, especially if they are popular, instead of spending money on new materials. When do we start making students accountable for the loss and the damage they incur? Okay. If you choose not to go back to the old policy for student fees, etc., then at least put in the wording regarding students' hardship and making students accountable when it comes time to graduate.
I thought both those things were in there.
You know, so did I. Okay. But let's flip to extended learning real quick and review. Okay, which here we are. All right. Pursue learning opportunities as a way to gain knowledge and skills outside the traditional classroom. Okay. Show me an out-of-classroom learning experience that provides a student with enrichment opportunities, career readiness, and employability. Any other type of out-of-classroom educational opportunity approved by the State Board of Educational policies. Okay, so to me, extended learning opportunities is not IDLA.
Right, and it's not, I mean, Yeah, it's such a different beast than just the advanced opportunities, which we did the advanced opportunities one already.
Right.
This is different, and it is broader. I mean, I understand where they're coming from,
Okay.
but I also think the language of the law was pretty broad.
Yes. Okay. All ELOs shall comply with applicable laws and regulations, including child labor laws and regulations governing occupational safety. Okay. In determining whether to approve an ELO proposed by a student or by a prospective supervising organization, the district shall consider the overall benefits, costs, advantages, and disadvantages of both to the student and the district. Okay. An organization such as a nonprofit organization, an Idaho business, a trade association of the United States Armed Forces may apply to offer district students a 4-credit ELO. The application must demonstrate the opportunity will teach students specific Idaho content standards or the Idaho College and/or career readiness competencies and subskills. Okay. Request by organizations seeking to offer an ELO will be evaluated by the superintendent. The board directs the superintendent to create a process for evaluating.
So that process could include the 60 hours that they are requesting, because we don't have the application created yet.
Right.
So in the application, it could say, a minimum of 60 hours. Please specify how those will be met.
Right.
This is just the policy. The actual
saying we can do it. Right.
Hasn't been finalized yet.
Right.
So that we probably will address that concern in the application.
Okay.
It's the hardship part of that.
Well, that's a different policy.
Yeah.
No, this is the extended learning, which was the comment here was, where's the definition?
Oh, yeah.
This one was saying we stated, because I wonder why you decided to cite case law, which Constitution of the State of Idaho, Article 9, religious testing teaching in school prohibited, isn't case law. So this person's incorrect, but that's okay. It's part of the Constitution. But I think that has to do, and maybe, because I think we took that out. So let's, all right. Once an organization has been approved as an ELO, the district shall consider it an approved ELO for all students. A student may request credit for the proposed ELO on an individual basis. A student must complete an application for ELO, which must be signed by their parents, guardians, custodians. The application must demonstrate how the opportunity will teach the student specific Idaho content standards or the Idaho College and/or career readiness competencies and subskills. Such applications must be submitted to the building principal at least 10 business days prior to beginning the proposed opportunity when seeking approval. The deadline may be waived at the building principal's discretion. A student may submit an application to receive credit for an activity as an ELO after it is begun, provided the application is made within 10 business days of the start of the activity. The application will be reviewed by the building principal. A decision will be made within 5 business days of receipt of the application. In addition, information is requested. If additional information is requested, the information must be submitted within 5 business days of receipt of the request. The student will be notified in writing of the decision. The appeal process. Okay, because there was a section in here, and we took it out about religious organizations.
I was looking at the same thing.
That's
crossed out.
Yeah, because, but I don't see it. I'm like, skinny. Struck out, but I don't see it almost all. I don't either, but it was in here. Got completely struck. But this is a new. Did I delete it accidentally?
Maybe. And that's fine. We took it out, but we can take out the case law that goes with it because we're going to allow our So if we can go to version history.
Oh, so you can look back in the different versions and see it.
Okay. ELO shall not include activities for religious purposes. Okay, so we took that out. Where was it? It was for applicable laws and regulations. Oh, I took it out. Instead of striking it out, whoopsies. My bad. Okay, so because we had talked about it, were you here when we talked about it? Okay, so then I guess this section.
And that just came away because we don't need to reference it because we are.
Right, because it's not being taught in school; it's outside of school. So.
And we're not saying they can't. But
Correct.
We're not saying that religious organization can't apply for the yellow.
Right. Because who knows? All right, so we'll remove that, which should satisfy that complaint. And this one is more procedural application.
But it does state in here that the district will determine how many. I mean, so
what do you mean?
We don't. They said, can we limit 2? That states in. We just heard in here something about the district will determine the number of credits. So technically it's 2, but I think it would probably be a case by case.
Except what they're talking about, to me, isn't an ELO. It's just gaining credits. Because, like, I knew a student that took their core subjects during the summer so that they could take all electives during the year. So, but that's all, that has nothing to do with an extended learning opportunity.
And I think they're seeing this as similar to other practices and wanting to know if we want to be consistent. So, like when kids do the job employment focus, we only allow them to get 2 credits. Okay. We only allow whatever 1 or 2 credits for kids that want to use their athletic activities for a PE credit. There's a limit on how many credits they can earn. So I wonder if that's what that question was. Are we going to limit the number of ELO credits they can earn? Typically in other similar, it's up to 2.
Right.
But if this isn't the same, we could, there might not be the same limit.
Well, and I think once the application and the procedure processes are in place, then we may need to go back and add additional language if we do, come down to, you could only earn 2 credits here in this arena. But I also
think that's where that question comes from. This is what we do in other similar types of credits. Are we going to limit this one also? But I haven't determined that yet.
Right. But it also, I do think the district remains in control of the situation where, if the child's just never in school, I don't think they're getting all of their credits under extended learning opportunities. So.
Right, and part of the application process is they have to demonstrate how they're actually going to meet the standards that they're identifying. And
right.
If they don't feel like they're meeting them to the level that they would be meeting in a class in school, we would say we have to beef it up or we have to deny it. So.
Right, and there are disadvantages because they get a P instead of a letter grade. So it's I can't see any particular, well, who knows.
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for families who, if we have one family where they all take their kids and go for a month to a foreign country, and there's all kinds of learning that happens for their kids, and instead of counting them absent for that whole time, they could tie this to that learning as far as like history or lots of different things. So I think it gives kids some flexibility.
But I think the intent of this is very different. That's what we were talking about before we got here, than the advanced opportunities. So it's going to be more gray, but I think that I'm guessing it came from one of our counselors, just looking at it's a staff/parent, and they're referencing a lot of our high school policies. It seems similar, but it's not.
Right.
And so I think as we institute a new policy that's brand new, we just have to have them through what that means and why we have it, and not just the advanced opportunities.
Right.
So could we just include, language to the effect that it would be limited, possibly, that would be part of the criteria. The board directs the superintendent to draft criteria for determining whether the proposed learning opportunity will qualify for credit and determining how many total credits are allowable for ELOs. And that just add that verbiage in this on page 3, kind of middle of page 3. And that would cover the limitation.
I apologize. What was saying?
Just add a little bit of language into the middle of page 3 where the board directs the superintendent to draft criteria. And just include not just criteria for qualifying,
determining whether a
what
learning
will
qualify for credit
and then
how much.
and how many
And how many
total credits the student can earn. Something along those lines.
And this policy goes hand in hand with the self-directed learning policy.
And that's why it's credit.
This is an avenue to accomplish that.
Yeah, and it's referenced in that section.
So determining how many credits may be earned through ELO opportunities and whether a proposed learning opportunity, should we say proposed ELO?
Yeah, because that's what we assume most of that.
Will qualify for credit toward one or more core subjects, elective credits, or skills required in students. So that way we're okay.
At least then people are reading this and recognizing that you don't get to do all 46 high school credits through ELO and expect that you're going to graduate.
Correct.
High school grad diploma or whichever. Yeah.
A little bit hard to really say.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Learning experience, I think we just fine. Not outline. Okay. So then this particular staff member really was hitting us hard. Student fees, fines, and charges. Apparently, we don't collect fees at the high school level.
Barbara, I'm trying to figure out if what they're talking about is when we get kids that come to us from middle school, they didn't turn in their book to you, and they move on to us, those fees should come with us, but now we're trying to collect an elementary or middle school book, and it gets hard for us to know, like, what's that book and how you, so I think that, I don't know if they're referencing the fact that over the years, elementary charges are supposed to be carried over all the way till the end, so that an elementary charge, they shouldn't get their diploma, which is stated in there. You know, we talk about how they won't, because they don't get their graduation tickets until they pay all their fees. I don't know that we see all of the fees and fines from elementary and middle school. I know we can take care of high school, and I don't know how that transitions when they come
I
across.
thought at some point we, previously we made the decision that we're gonna spend the 3 years at middle school doing middle school stuff, and then we send them to the high school. Either the middle school library fund is absorbing the cost of that book that's missing, or.
So I think that's what they're referencing, is that these middle school and elementary fees.
Well, I think they do transfer though, because at the end of the year, they add up what they owe, and it goes with them. They didn't pay it.
Okay, so let's read her complaint.
I think.
This person's complaint.
Can I just ask a quick question, because I don't know this, but when my girls were in high school, I had to pay like a book deposit fee. Is that still part of the?
That's what I was thinking too, but my kids, if it's been a while, they had $20 and then they carried with them.
Because they know, like, we're doing orientation right now, and they pay Chromebook if they choose to, right? They pay for ASB, they do, I mean, like, I'm looking at the pay stations and what Cynthia's collecting money for right now.
So we're not even really collecting fees anymore.
It was called book deposit, but we don't even issue very many textbooks anymore, so maybe they did away with that.
So
Because the book deposit was strictly for textbooks, not library books.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of your senior year, if you had turned all your textbooks in, then
Right.
shape you got your
Right, you got your money back.
I don't think we do that anymore.
Okay, well, this language sounds like they're talking about library books, but I'm not positive. Why are you changing this? The original policy covered hardship cases, the new one doesn't. I don't think that's accurate. The old one had stipulations regarding graduation, transcripts, diplomas, etc. If school property, books, Chromebooks, uniforms, etc., is not paid for or returned. We struggle now, as it is, to get school property back because the high schools will not make the students responsible for said school property when the elementary and or middle schools have exhausted all possibilities and the items still attributed to the student continues to show up on their account. We have lost hundreds of dollars of books over the years because students don't return them. The students won't force the issue and we are left having to replace those books, especially if they are popular, instead of spending money on new materials. When do we start making students accountable for loss and damage they incur?
Interesting that whoever wrote this feels like it's the high school's responsibility to
Collect for
That's what I
elementary.
thought. Yeah,
Elementary
books. Right, it doesn't
That's
make any
not-
sense.
Yeah, that's not.
So I
So,
think they feel like the message they're sending is, well, if you don't pay for this, it's going with you, it doesn't go away, when you graduate, you're gonna have, and then we're not doing that, which there's probably some truth to that, but now we're talking about a book that they didn't return from second grade.
Right.
Does that transfer with them then?
But do you even know that there's a book they didn't turn in from
Right.
second
I
grade?
There
know
might be a dollar amount, but does it say, oh, this came from the library, it was because of a book not returned? Or is it just a dollar amount that transfers with them too?
I don't know if either transfers with them, to be perfectly honest.
I know that in the ones we're aware of, we know the book title and the dollar amount, because the kids have a choice of returning the book or paying for the replacement fee, but it's only, because that's how it's entered from our library, our librarians put that information in there. Same thing when our technology person puts in, that we can look and be like, oh, you owe $40 for a charger, or it's
But
$20
that-
because you had insurance,
But
it
that's
shows on
during your 4 years that they're in high school,
not
not
with the things we see and know.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't,
of what came for.
I don't think we even know that.
Yes.
so then I think it would be important to know how much money are we actually losing at each building level because of student fees, fines, and charges.
I can
Because if
imagine-
it's a problem,
Yeah. then we need to-
or if it's just this one particular staff member's experience,
Mhm.
I mean, that can't be spread globally because that may not be the case. There may be. Hello, Sunshine. We're glad you're here.
I can look into that. I know when,
Okay.
it's been a long time, but when I was principal, every year we would have, our librarians did an amazing job of tracking all that down. So they might have 2 or 3 books
Right.
that kids didn't pay for, but then I didn't let them register the next year. I didn't put them on the class list until parents either made payment arrangements that they
Right.
couldn't afford to pay the whole $15 all at once,
Right.
or they just paid it. But that's what I did.
Okay.
But I can check and see what the current practice is and how much we feel like we're losing.
Okay. And if that policy, that procedure carries true all elementaries,
Right. Or is that just
Yeah.
both middle
building
schools,
specific?
both high schools, what is your process for as a freshman?
Well,
They
ours,
lost
I
this
know,
text
we
or
asked them
whatever.
last week, 'cause then
It's like
we
you've
contacted
got a
Jen.
charger. Right.
Our
so
kids
for
don't
last
have
year.
those they don't get the graduation tickets.
Right.
And we, for the years that Jen Schutz has been our registrar, have never had to leave, stop returning everything because they want a graduation ticket.
But
Right.
if, like, Lisa was saying if they have an outstanding fee from the prior year, are they allowed to register, or is that saying, well, this is part of your fee for this year?
I know we won't issue Chromebooks if they have fees. I mean, I do know there's some of those things in place in our building, like if a kid has a fee from the previous year.
Well, I think,
can't.
I do think we need to make sure that there's procedure in place for all,
Yeah.
exactly, so that people aren't doing their own thing and we understand the structure. And I think once that is established universally, then maybe it will help the staff member feel like the policy's effective.
Well, it's phrase of
And there-
exhaust all measures.
There's
Yeah.
wording.
Are they the same for everybody?
Right. Because if you have a principal that's okay with, but I keep calling this person she, it could be you. The staff member did state, I guess we don't have anything in here for hardships.
We do. It says the board delegates authority to the superintendent, it's the very last paragraph, to establish appropriate fees and procedures governing the collection of fees and procedures to guide the building principals when a fee may be waived in cases of financial hardship. And it's right
That's
there.
part of our protocol.
Okay.
That we're going to write.
Yeah, but it does state right in there that the building principal and the superintendent will address.
Okay,
What?
and I highlighted this because this was actually in our old policy. Did you know, speaking of,
That this is supposed to be happening.
it's an annual report that the board's supposed to get, how much we're losing in fees. So I highlighted that to let you know.
I need to create a document that tells me what my annual report responsibilities are, because we keep finding them.
Yeah, in policy even.
They gave me directions and nobody told me.
Okay, so, as a condition of graduation or issuance of a transcript, the
Right,
district.
you could, not to, sorry,
No, you're fine.
but in talking with Jen, I believe you put an official transcript, because what we have found out is, like, let's say they want a records request, we will send an official transcript so that they can maybe see where the student would place and what that looks like, but we will not send official transcripts if there are CPs on
Okay,
in our.
what about at the elementary level though? I mean, if the kiddos bump into a new school, do we hold up their official transcript?
There's only a transcript that
Okay.
follows them.
Okay,
I think what I will put in the protocol is that the kids don't get put on the class list until the fees are, and we can enroll them and register them.
right,
We won't put them in a class until they pay the fee or make payment arrangements.
okay,
Problem we're into, and like when kids transfer out.
yeah.
It gets easier for us.
At
to
that
do the
point,
whole
then,
transcript.
we can hold
Elementary
their,
and middle school.
except the law says we only have 10 days
I don't
to
think
send.
Yeah, I think it's one of those places where we really, like, we do the best we can, but
Okay,
if they're leaving us
right,
and that school requests those records,
Yep,
we will send them official transcripts initially, but eventually we're gonna send those official transcripts because we want to.
At the elementary level, we don't have a transcript, but we have to send out the records and report cards and everything, so.
So
Those might be the ones
That
that
might be a
we
loss
have
that we
to
have to.
but at the elementary level, the fees are small, because we're talking about a
It's
library
very,
book that might
Right.
cost us $15.
We're really careful about textbooks.
Well, I think our
Right, they
biggest-
don't really know.
They don't go home generally, so
Right.
Like if
unless
they
they destroy
moved
it.
midsummer and it was unplanned move, getting a Chromebook, I mean, that might be one place where it is, but it's
Remember,
very
elementary
few.
Chromebooks don't go home. Yeah, so
Right.
it's
But
really
I'm telling
more
you,
of a
even
second
for us on the
thing,
biggest expense,
Okay.
and it's very rare.
so do
except
we,
at Mountain View.
so if you choose not to go back to the old policy for student fees, but at least put in wording regarding student hardship and making students accountable come time to graduate.
It just,
That's
did
what
you
I
guys
did.
talk about that this policy only came out because it was part of the self-learner policy and the extended opportunities, and that's why this is one of the cross-reference policies, that's why we brought it up.
Okay,
Well, and then when they said graduation, like our very last line is as a condition of graduation. So
right,
Mhm.
so I don't know, maybe they just didn't read it, or
They
maybe they
missed
don't
it.
think we're hitting it over the head hard enough, I don't know. Okay,
But we do have a breakdown in the system with regard to,
From
I
the
would,
building to the
I would
next.
not expect our high school principals or librarians to track down a Curious George book from first grade. Right, that
why
just
not?
seems- That just seems a little bit,
That's what I think that is.
Right?
You're right. I'm so glad you're gonna fill our day with those things.
But I don't understand then, because by that the staff member's complaint, to me, that's a building issue. It's not the policy issue. It's
the protocol.
yeah,
Which we have never
obviously
had.
okay,
So every building's
Okay.
doing something probably a little bit different. We will
which isn't
tighten
good. Yeah, perfect. All right, so I think we've addressed these. Are we all in agreement on that? Okay, good. Electronic communication devices.
Can I just ask one question? So 2460 and 3440, are we sending this to the September board meeting?
Yes. My only caution with 2460 is right, or the procedures. So we can approve the policy,
There's more to come.
but there has to be more.
Do you want to wait?
It might be wiser because if it gets out there, do we know maybe a time frame for when the application and procedures might?
That's all we need, sorry. It's been a little bit busy around here. I actually have been trying to find some district in the state that has an application, so that we have a
Right.
start. Nobody has one.
Okay.
So we're gonna create it. And so, now that this is dialed in and we've gotten the feedback, I will just use this to create the application.
I would think the application for the
Self-directed learner.
thank you. It should be sort of parallel to that, but I mean, there's other caveats.
Right, I just need to go through this now and pick out the criteria and
And remember the law attached to this one, there was a lot of, like we said, this would be a good starting point with an application, because there was a lot of specifics in the law itself. So for 2460, I'm just gonna leave it on the agenda, I'll just put it at the bottom so we don't forget about it.
Okay.
And then once Lisa gets it done, I'll link it in and then bring it to the top, is that okay?
Okay. Well, you could also just maybe put in it red brackets pending application.
I've been putting notes on, just so we don't
Okay.
forget, but 3440 we will send to the September board meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Electronic communication. Oh, we got feedback on this one.
Well, you sent it out to.
I sent it to tech and I sent it to principals and
Okay.
just to get some feedback. So
Did you get the one I forwarded to you? Okay.
it did not go out to survey yet, but the notes from last week said just send it to tech, and then I just thought I'm going to include some other people.
Okay.
So all the feedback that I received is linked.
And I feel like when we worked on it last week, we got 2/3 to it, but not all the way.
One of the things I think, we didn't get all the
We didn't get all the way through the last
Yeah.
language, so we knew, but we also knew it would be good to get some feedback on it.
Right. Earbuds is something that was brought to my attention that is problematic. So we didn't address that in the electronic. But that's not communication. It's electronic devices. So,
Which we do define at the top of electronic devices, but the title of the policy is electronic communication devices.
right.
So we could just take the word communication out and then add.
That's true.
And don't send earbuds, you can text to it.
Are you serious?
You can do all kinds.
Well, if you do
Yeah.
Hey Siri and.
You
If I
can tap them,
if I
because I
can
know
find because mine's connected to I can call Kennedy. I can do all the things. It has to be connected to. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna Bluetooth to my watch or my phone. I can do all that.
I did not do that.
But
I
I
took
can-
a cell phone
Yeah,
from a student that had earbuds in, and he was watching the cell phone on his desk, and he could see that the kid was talking into his earbud and doing. I mean, I don't know how it gets done either, but because he didn't take the earbud, but he had the phone on his desk, and he was like, "What is going on?" And it was through his earbud.
As long as they're Bluetooth, it just is. It's like having a hardwired headphone.
So it is a communication device.
All right.
But I can be out with my cell phone
Smartwatches.
and I can reply to a text without my phone.
Earbuds.
Don't ask me how you do that, but I would do that.
I would do earbuds / headphones because I don't know. You've got some of those now. They're not the earbuds. They're doing it over the ear.
Yeah, but when you have your earbuds in, you can say, Hey Siri, text so and so, and then you can speak whatever it is you want to text.
Right. It's the same with the new over the ear because any of them are the Bluetooth. They can do that.
I just said, hey. Stop Siri.
Not talking to you now.
Whoops.
All right. So, why allow high school students to use phones between classes? I I tried to allow that a few years ago, and all it did was allow for more drama to spread. If possible, I would like to see between classes removed. Fair enough. Before classes, beginning in the morning. Between classes, during the
That's
students.
all same part of feedback, that's just what they put.
Oh, okay. This content looks good to me. It looks good, Lynn. Personal devices versus school issued devices. Teachers cannot oversee personal laptops. We cannot see what the student is doing if they are not on a school issued device. Okay. Class wise is awesome, but we cannot monitor what a student is doing if they are not.
Yeah, so ClassWise is a platform that we use so that it's on the teachers' computers, and because everybody else is on a school issued Chromebook, they can see the screen that the kid is on without having to stand behind the kiddo.
Okay.
But not everything. You can't see everything. You can't see extensions. So they could be playing a game and you can't see it.
Because it looks like they're still on the launching.
So there are
Seriously?
weaknesses
Yep.
to the program. Yes. That cause a
But
lot
what
of
they're
issues.
saying is if it's a personal laptop,
Right.
they haven't connected.
There's no.
There's
We
no
don't
way
see
to
any.
monitor.
Right.
So when are they allowed to have a personal laptop? Don't they have to get a special connection?
They just connect to the school Wi-Fi.
Can they just
Yes.
connect up as a guest?
Yes, Wi-Fi.
That seems to be a problem.
But even if they were on, if they logged in some other way, it's still not our device, so they can't, it doesn't connect.
Yeah.
And even if we cut off our access, they can use their cell phone
They
data,
can use
they
their
can
hotspots.
use their hotspots on their phone. There's no way to cut that off.
But why would they be needing to use their own personal device?
Well, that would be the
School
question.
issue.
Right, well, and it
That's what
came
they're
from
asking.
parents didn't wanna pay the $20 for the insurance for Chromebooks. And because I've already paid $400 for my child to have a laptop, I just want them to take their own laptop. If they break it, if that's on me, that's kinda how it all started. So we just are having a little bit of struggle with, we've had some kids that have been on even our own Chromebooks that are doing things they should not be doing, but at least the teachers have the opportunity to see what they're doing without having to stand behind the kids.
But if they use their own hotspot, I mean, it's kind of an unlimited.
Maybe we need to say no personal laptops.
Yeah, I think it needs.
Due to problems.
I did talk to Chad about this, because the same comment came to me, because it's one of our staff members. I don't know that we would have enough Chromebooks to do every student. Like there's just a high enough percentage that they count on do personal devices. We may be short on Chromebooks.
How can that be? Because we were told as the board that we had 1-to-1 ratio.
It could be, I don't know, I just asked him, I was like, so, and maybe they'd have to do some pulling from other places to get enough high school, because it's probably more high school kids that, so they may be out in other places.
But I don't know how we could be not given the decline in enrollment.
We're
across the
actually
board.
way up. I've been enrolled board. We're way up.
Well, that's a plus.
I know, I was so excited when I logged in and looked at it.
Anyway,
We just ordered $500,000 worth of Chromebooks,
Yes,
right?
we do that every single year.
Right, so we definitely, with those new ones coming in, if that's the decision, we can
figure it out, it just might take a little bit of, and it's, our building mostly seniors, and it may be kids that are doing some of that dual enrollment things, and so they use their own laptop for their IDLA or their off-campus stuff, but Chad said it wasn't a huge number. Because we talked through some different possibilities, and this wasn't going to be a policy in terms of a cart available to use for testing, so that they can make sure it is a school device for tests. I think, did some brainstorming.
I just think the personal device opens Pandora's
It
box,
does,
because
and it has.
Bluetooth and people's hotspots, and I mean,
Right.
the lack of filters that, I don't know.
Could you put a stipulation in there that if they are caught breaking the policy that they signed at the beginning of the year, then that privilege would be taken away?
That's already part of that AUP that they have to sign.
So then they would have to use a school issued Chromebook once they broke that policy.
Or let's say, we just go to the personal
I
devices.
think the board needs to weigh in before we spend a lot more energy on wording, wordsmithing this sucker.
If we're
You okay?
done with orientation on those pieces, so if this policy, obviously it's not gonna happen before school starts, if it goes into effect it would be retroactively maybe letting a kiddo know, like, you can only bring your personal device, we're gonna need you to come down and check your Chromebook, I mean, so we're gonna, but it's, again, it's not a huge number of kids.
Right.
But you will have parents who are not gonna be happy if we take that off, so we need to.
No, I understand that, but we are supposed to provide a free public education. That does not mean that they have the right to disrupt the learning environment because of privilege. That doesn't work.
And the key word is actually uniform and thorough for you.
Which I'm all for uniforms. I think we should.
So am I would love that.
So, do we want to put this one on hold, and are we saying that you wanna add it to the special meeting on the 27th, or do you want it to go to the 11th, September 11th?
Why don't we add it to the 27th? Because I think the sooner this gets resolved and follows through the process and we can get it in place, the better it will be for the school year. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, even if, so we're meeting next Wednesday or Thursday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Okay, good. So next Tuesday, and then.
It would be, yep.
Like,
yes.
when I have it send it out for survey,
Like
official
we're-
survey, so if we have to, next Thursday, we go out to survey, then the following Thursday, which is the first week of school,
Be a review.
and then it could get on to the 11th board meeting unless you want
It
it.
could. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, we
Which I
might
would
be
like it
2
to.
weeks, 3 weeks into school before it becomes, and so then you're gonna retroactively maybe have to
I
issue
think it
some
would
Chromebooks,
be,
but it's.
potentially it's 2 weeks into, it's a week and a half, the 11th is that Wednesday,
Well, we can only work as fast as we can.
Yeah.
And as long as it gets resolved, and maybe this year would be kind of a lumpy year, but then we know it's the policy and it can be better enforced the year after that. But
We wanna work through the part we didn't get to, so that when you guys review it, it's only finalizing those personal device pieces and it can be done? Or do you guys wanna finish those last 4 paragraphs that we didn't get to last week on cameras, we stopped there?
where are we on page 1 or 2?
Because
Because this blue is all ISBA language.
we stopped there, like,
Yeah.
we got through page 1, and then we got to that ISBA and it was 11 o'clock, and
Yeah.
we can continue.
So
Okay.
we'll take this to the 8/27 board meeting, and I won't send out my new survey.
Not yet. So the use of cameras and any type of electronic device is strictly prohibited in locker rooms, restrooms, classrooms, unless the certified district employee authorizes the student to do otherwise. Where students are allowed to use electronic devices, they are required to obtain permission before taking a photograph or video of any individual. Student must also obtain permission from any individual appearing in a photograph or video prior to posting on any school social or on any social networking site or any other. I really think that
There's so much of that happening, like how do we police that?
that I think opens the district up to significant liability. If
I
it's
would
in our
just-
policy,
I
and
would-
we're
why I
assuming
said
responsibility.
I'm watching the amount of Snapchatting and whatever that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Well, here's the problem, because if it's on district property, then yes, there has to be permissions granted. That's why I think we have to say nothing on school campus.
Because we can't police, there's
We
no way we can.
can't.
Do you wanna leave that first sentence in there or not?
The use of cameras is strictly prohibited, and then just put a period after classrooms, yeah, right there.
Let me just get that, might be a worthwhile statement to say you cannot take pictures in locker rooms and.
Students found to be using any electronic communications devices.
It's just two in any way, two in any way send
Or receive personalized.
a lot of prepositions in that sentence.
It's all good.
Makes my brain really work first thing.
Constitute cheating on tests or examinations of each other to discipline and fine shall be confiscated and not returned until parent conference has been held. All right. So
And I would maybe say maybe subject to, well, not maybe, but the device shall be confiscated. Should be maybe confiscated and not returned to the parents, or like, I guess a parent phone call would count as a confiscation, okay? Because most times a phone calls can count. I just was initially thinking if I had a chance, you would return that device before you got a meeting with the parent. Because that goes on, it's from the phone calls.
To send or receive personal messages, data, or information that would contribute to or constitute cheating.
So I was cheating, or I did something that allowed my friend to cheat. I took a picture and shared it with them, or
Or I said, hey Siri,
Cheating.
text Shannon and tell her the answer to number 2 is A.
She just
She knows.
and the device shall be confiscated and not returned until parent conference has been held. Okay. So, does that sound reasonable?
And I think that mirrors current practice,
Okay.
right, Jen?
Okay. Students are responsible for the safeguarding devices they bring to school.
Yeah.
For safeguarding devices they bring to school, which I'm gonna highlight this because this is something that would potentially be coming out. Students shall comply with any additional rules developed by the school concerning the appropriate use of telecommunication or other electronic devices. Additional rules though should be part of the protocols, that are universal, so.
And then they should go, and then whatever that is, should also be in the student handbook.
Right,
So that
right.
This
Everybody,
policy is in the student handbook.
okay.
The problem is, all this comes back to then who oversees, if we're gonna allow that, then who monitors that, that's the hard part, the accountability piece.
Okay. Students who violate the provisions of this policy are subject to disciplinary action, including losing the privilege of bringing the device onto school property, detention, suspension, or expulsion. In addition, an administrator will confiscate the devices, which shall only be returned to the student's parents, guardians, or custodians, where appropriate police authorities may be contacted. Okay, so. Subject to disciplinary action.
And can we say including,
The loss of privilege.
yes, or the inability to bring, or
Well, okay, hold on, let's look at this though, because, that might have to go out, so.
right, yeah.
Including detention, suspension, or expulsion.
Well, it's just listing what could happen. What is this like included?
The disciplinary action would include either detention, suspension, or expulsion.
And I do know, like, currently, the kids are continually on their phones. They get brought to the office, keep until the end of the day. We've had parent phone calls where parents have to be the ones that come and get them. That's our current.
It says, in addition, an administrator will confiscate the devices, which
And
shall
you-
only be returned to the student's parent.
And that's what I was gonna say. First offense for us, it does get returned to the student. It's not for the second offense that it is returned only to a parent. So that's a little bit different than what we're currently doing when it's starting with something. Their first offense, we keep until the end of the day, but we do return to the student. We call the parents to let them know. Any further offenses, then the parents have to come get it.
So are you suggesting that we change the shall to may, which may only be returned?
Because the policy is saying if you violate the policy, then we're taking it. What I hear you saying is, okay.
At the end of the day, we return it to the student on the first offense. Subsequently, parents have to come get it.
So they get like a one-time.
Okay, so this was in the policy though already, so you guys are not following the policy. The black language was already here. So
There's a lot of that policy that crossed other parts of the district, because I will tell you right now, and my feedback is, I think we are the strictest on cell phones in the district.
Cool. Okay. But,
But I'm hearing from like, oh, this was not what happened in middle school, boy, this is not what,
yeah,
this is what we're doing, and this is how it needs to be.
right. But I think to resolve the problem, it has to be a one and done. So like you take it and you call the parent. I don't think it's a take it, hold it till the end of the day, give it to the student, and the next day you take it again, then you call the parent.
Well, we do call the parent.
On both events?
Mm-hmm. Difference being I call the parent, let them know that the phone's been taken, it's in my office, your child will get it back at the end of the day. Second time it is, phone's been taken, this is now the second, or third, or fifth.
Okay.
It's been brought to my office, you will have to come and get it. If we get to 4 or 5, then we're talking the detentions and or loss of privilege, like, I'm gonna suggest your child check the phone into the office when they get here, and pick it up at the end of the day, they will not have to look it on.
If you need to get in touch with your child, you
Call the
call
office.
Can you put that
They
in a
did
list of
it too.
consequences,
Like
like
they did
first
in the old
offense is
days.
what
Yep.
happens,
And they
second
can still
offense
do
is
that.
what happens?
It just, it's kind of where we're at with what we do, but.
Or do we need a protocol or procedure for it?
Sounds like we do.
We need a protocol.
So for the call for confiscating devices.
For what that looks like, so that we're all doing the same way. If we're gonna allow the child to take it home the first time and then the second time.
Are we talking just about cell phones?
We do it with earbuds also. Like when we talk about.
It has to be all electronic devices.
Well,
Because if it's their watch, we have to take it.
so that was the other question that came from same staff member that had questions on the personal devices. Smartwatches, they're pretty uncomfortable telling a kiddo that they have to put their smartwatch in their backpack, it can't be visible. But based on policy says, if that's included in that electronic device, and it's, they shall be limited to, it talks about when they can have them. Before school, after school, during lunch, like, if they're wearing it, are they in violation of policy, and how do we monitor that? But we wouldn't be able to.
Because our policy is very big when they're texting during class on their watch.
Well, the policy prior to this it never even named smartwatches, which is why this came up, because I had a couple of principals ask about it, because
They were
it's being
literally
abused.
texting.
Well, and younger kids will get a smartwatch before they get a phone, so for elementary and middle school, it's probably a bigger concern. On our end, like, we can eliminate the cell phones and the earbuds, that's a little bit clearer, but you do have a lot of kids
I
that.
would really like to be clear on what the policy is on smartwatches.
Yeah, multiple principal asked.
And you know, come up to exactly before we go too far with the legal.
Because kids will text on their, and they think it's okay because it's not on their phone.
Well, and even, like, depending, if your phone is in your backpack and it's within, whatever it is, 10 feet, even if you're not paying to have it as its own device, it's still usable. And then on the flip side, you could take a phone from a student, it's in my office, so now, but if they paid that extra fee,
Like if there's a line attached to your phone.
they can now
Or
use
your
it
watch.
still, it's almost like it's a separate device.
Yeah, our watches all have their own line,
Yeah.
so we can use our watches as our phone. Which comes in handy when your daughter locks her keys and the phone in her car in the high school parking lot, and it's 9:30 at night.
What are you laughing at? Oh, there are reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
However.
When used appropriately.
I don't have my phone with me, and I watch rings, and I do want to take this call. That means I'm talking to my watch, and I don't have my earbuds with me, and everybody's, let me find a place where I can.
I do the same thing. Michelle will call and will say, "You're on my watch right now." I'm watching to find my phone. 1 second.
Okay, so students who violate this policy are subject to disciplinary action, including detention, suspension, or expulsion. The administrator will confiscate the device, and parents, guardians, custodians will be contacted.
the confiscated device will be returned at the end of the school day to the student on the first offense. Is a different word.
What if you just put will be returned at the end of the school day, and then we can determine what that looks like in the protocol? Like it's returned to the student or it's returned to the parents, but not state in there, so that if we do it one way, but the elementary does it a different way, we're not handcuffed to the same, just a thought.
But I would think in the procedure protocol that it would be specific to either elementary or secondary.
Mm-hmm.
But the policy needs to cover. Right. Right. So, but I do think if you send it out and we end it here, they're gonna say, who is it being returned to? So that's why going off of what yours is, what this alert is saying is that every administrator in a building will take the device and the parents will be called, but then we would return it to the student. I mean, I would think in elementary, you would probably want to just return it to the parent, not the
Right,
student.
that's what I'm thinking. Most of the elementary might be different, because it might just go straight to the, on the first offense. Well, the secondary may give it to the kid on the first time. Yeah.
Or if you call a parent the first offense, let the parent decide what happens to the parent. The parent could say, yes, give it back to the child, or I will come and pick it up. Second offense, you take that right away from the parents.
Okay.
Can you put in the policy that the means by which the devices are returned to the family are outlined in the procedure that accompanies the policy, so that we're not so specific in the policy, because I would think we would have a secondary procedure and an elementary procedure.
So then the procedure is going to be up on the policies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Student device, or the device shall be returned based on protocols.
Based on the protocols established.
In alignment with the protocols that accompany this policy, or the procedure that accompanies this policy.
My brain just sticks sometimes and stops. It doesn't work.
Those are procedures.
Okay. Where appropriate, that doesn't make sense. Or when necessary.
top where it says students who violate this policy are subject to disciplinary action. Can we say up to and including detention? Because that's how some of our other policies are written. So it gives a little bit of latitude because at the elementary level, we don't really have a detention per se, in-school suspension, but I don't know that that would be the first thing we could do with an elementary kiddo.
Okay.
Back at the top, this is just now that we've added.
Yeah, we probably need to students. Maybe, okay.
Well, the first part's good because it's just generic. It's where we did the use of smartphones, smartwatches, cellular telephones. Probably needs to include earbuds in there also.
That sentence you just highlighted,
Yeah.
didn't make any sense. May be in possession of electronic devices such as on school property. So I think something got taken out.
They identified a few different things and put the such as, so.
I was reading it anyway, it doesn't sound right. Wasn't a threat to academic integrity.
Actually, I think this whole paragraph should be highlighted because if we're saying they're not allowed, then this is irrelevant.
That would be just laptops. We still have other electronic devices that they could use that could be disruptive to the educational.
Like they'll have an e-reader, Kindle, and those kinds of things.
Well,
They have an iPad.
Even their smartwatch. Because you can send pictures, you can do all kinds of things.
I just think of things that may be in a classroom that would be appropriate at times. E-readers might be one of those, or we've got kiddos depending that they have an iPad.
My e-reader is on my iPad.
That's it. Yeah, you don't have a separate just Kindle device. You may use your.
About district issued electronic devices. Because that way, I mean, we don't know what every teacher has in their classroom. So,
But I do think you still are gonna have some non-district issued electronic devices that would be used in classrooms.
I don't know. Because I think we can't, you have to do your best not to have the loopholes. So if we say no electronic devices, that, you know, it's school issued only, then that means nothing. If we say no, except for these two things, everything's going to be pushed. So that's where I think we have to figure that out. And meaning the board people.
Yeah, so the board conversation is basically going to be, do we want to just eliminate all electronic devices with the exception of district issued? And there's a big movement across the nation right now to do that because there's so much bullying things that happen on their
Well, the devices are becoming so multifaceted. Like it's an e-reader, it can do so much more than just and it's hard to know and navigate and control those things.
Well, people are creating apps specifically for kids to hide things, which is problematic.
That's been around for a long time.
No, even within the courts, there's a significant issue because it used to be that text messages could be used in court. Now the challenge is because there's so many apps that you can manipulate text messages on, or even calling people and spoofing them and all of that.
Or re-edit later.
Yeah. So,
So the language says maybe in possession of school district issued electronic device on school property. And use of, don't we need some terminology to that so that you are also putting out.
Right. I guess the word possession to be careful because they're still going to have their phone in their possession possibly. They're just not going to
say
it's going to be in their backpack.
Yeah.
They just can't have it out.
Yes.
Their laptop, their personal laptop might be with them, but they don't get to use it during school. So possession might not be the right term, but yeah.
Is that specific to district issue electronics? So of course, it
Maybe
could
in
be,
possession of
that could-
and use district issued electronic devices.
but not personal ones.
Any of the websites.
Yeah.
So
So then if that's the direction you're moving, then I can say that whole med goes away and it would just say use of electronic devices or non-school issued electronic devices. And then you're not having to decide, is it earbuds, is it the, you know.
And then if you don't actually list one that they use, it's not on there, so then you can't.
Now we're eliminating that loophole, just has to go, or. So now they're saying that 5-minute passing period, which is interesting, that comment came in, because it's always been allowed as, like, sort of big, I don't know if you saw that, I was like, I don't know if it was to like high school, but I don't know that, I'm talking with Mike, and 3 years I've been in the building, it has not been, the no passing periods has not been, so I don't know where that comment came from.
So it would seem
Which
reasonable.
they may take this policy, which it says at the end, and add their own because that's what they need. But are we gonna wanna say not during passing periods for all high schools? I know you may get some pushback there, from kids and families and, cause we're telling our parents right now,
I would love it.
you cannot expect your kids to respond during class time. That 60 minutes is protected. If you send them a text, they can check their phone during passing periods. And if they need to text you back that, yes, I need a ride at the, like 5 minutes between classes is when they can do that. That's what we tell parents right now.
I would love it if the board decided that nobody's using any of that once school starts. I would love that. Before and after school, great. But we deal so much with cyberbullying and some of that, and we can't control it. And then if it's happening on school property, we're responsible for dealing with it, and that has been problematic. So I would love it if the board would just say, like we're doing, people are doing across the country right now, and not having.
I think you could open up them during the student's lunch period, and then just, cause it still has to go out for feedback and see what the feedback is.
Well, and during lunch.
Or leave it this way and see if you get pushback and people are saying.
She's gonna take it to,
we're
gonna take it to the board first and see what the board's input is.
But, I mean, I'm just saying, once you can make a choice one way or the other and then see what the feedback comes when it goes out for survey.
Our lunches are like a campus lunch for, I mean, so obviously we need the kids to stay on campus, our freshmen. That can't leave campus would be the only ones that you really.
Right, but this isn't just a high school policy, this.
Well, but it's high school portion.
Oh, high school.
We
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay,
So that's why.
sorry, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Cause you're leaving
They're leaving.
no cell phone for kids in elementary or middle school at all.
Yeah. So it'll just be interesting to see if there's pushback when it goes out for survey, if what people say, I mean, honestly, we don't normally do this, but I could leave the yellow and the strike through just specific to that, so they know that I mean, we can do whatever we want, sending
Right.
that out if we wanna see what it elicits. We don't normally do that, but we could.
Right.
What is our policy on communicating through email with parents? I mean, is that encouraged, discouraged? Because if they're saying I need to get a hold of my student by the end of the day,
Call the office.
call the office. Could we
Because
say
that's what we
email
used to
them?
do in the olden days.
Yeah.
Simple.
I
It's
just need to-
honestly, a lot of districts in various states are pushing that, that it just is funneled through the office, so.
We had a parent who called the office and needed to talk to a kiddo.
We pull right out of class, absolutely.
Yeah, and they talked to the parent. That's what we did before we.
I would love to go back to the olden days.
Oh, man. Much simpler time.
I have a sure. I was just gonna say, is there any caveat to some of the medical devices that are funneled through phone?
I think it's addressed now, because we did talk about 504s and IEPs and those things, because we have some of our kids, it's already written into their IEP in 504 that they're the exception, they can check their phone for medical purposes only because their diabetes is monitored. Like that what we talked about.
So what we have is the controls on electronic wise with any of these, other assessments, like with use outline there. It doesn't, well, I guess it's covered too. Do you have any scenarios where there's a health plan without a 504?
Not that I'm aware of, but I mean, you could do this in health plan, 504, IEP could list those things as.
Could the health plan be turned into?
It can,
Yeah.
I just wondered if there's
Typically,
any,
written in conjunction.
Yeah.
that's why I asked that question, is there any standalones that I'm not thinking of that are not in conjunction with the 504?
Like I'd have to look through all of our health plans, like to cross-reference that to know for sure. I think a lot of health plans and SBs and those kind of things that they would probably involve that.
Like concussion, then they would take away the electronic device.
Right.
So it would be an exception to that.
Well, and thinking about a monitoring system,
I was
there's
trying to figure that out.
there has to
It's okay.
be, you have to have a
Probably
504 for what
anytime
this
it's
would
coming
mean
in,
for a monitoring
it would be
situation.
up,
The
and I'd be
504
like,
would have to
it's
be
not
like
here.
with the health plan.
So you would,
Yeah, scroll down.
I guess like page
That's
number.
sure.
and then page.
Only because
You
But
could
you
have
have to put
some like
the
different
on there,
situation
that's
without necessarily.
Well, yeah, you have to write page and then
Right,
where
right,
you
that's what
want
I'm
the
saying.
number.
Those
But
are
if
ones
that's
that
not a
And then
monitoring
you go back.
so as it relates to this, it would have, there'd have to be a 504. We're talking about diabetes, we're talking about seizures.
So to start the process.
There would, you have to have a
Our
health plan.
monitors, like the way we would heart things and everyone have monitors.
There would be a health plan and a 504.
And I can
And if
even
there
just,
isn't, there should be.
right, and we
Yeah.
can make sure our school
Okay.
nurses
And then
know,
the
like
space
any
bar.
of these, that are like health plan required
Space bar.
device would also
And
need to
then
have.
Yeah.
page number. Page count. Okay.
So what I've been doing is going to the options, and
Okay.
it just gives you the page numbers, and so it doesn't really allow you to format it.
So I think
So I was
So
looking
the
at.
question for you, it says here,
Thank you for teaching.
in this
Teachers
policy,
are
do not apply to special education, section 504, or students with individualized education. And why does it have special education?
Back that over to you, Mary.
District staff will not provide software or technical assistance.
I think
That one would
that
necessary.
I would just do section
No, I think it should
504.
be, it should be
IEP.
together.
I don't really, I'm afraid, my concern is, do you leave it there? That's a broad
Students found to be
rest of
using
the time.
an electronic device.
In special ed, to not have to follow this plan, I think the whole paragraph should be. Okay.
Personal messages
okay,
done
because
with
I-
information.
What's the
Now,
difference between a
and
test
then
or a
especially
exam?
now use devices, but if they needed to state it has to be like an accommodation, or.
In my definition,
They're the same.
I think it's.
And it's easy to reword that.
Synonyms.
Mhm.
Shannon,
Yes.
what's the difference between a test or examination? Listed.
Semantics.
Right, it's because they're the same thing, right?
Well,
It would be, what's the difference between a quiz, what, I mean.
Right, like,
Exam might be.
It's,
It's
an
oral.
examination is the most comprehensive form of testing, typically given at the end of the term.
Like,
A
yeah,
test
like
is
it-
more
you can
limited
list all
in
of those,
scope.
we wanna put the words test, assessment, exam, final, like, no, any sort of assessment.
I would just say, yeah, assessment would cover
All of
everything.
those, like, I just feel like another one of those where quiz.
If I don't wanna cause anxiety, I say.
Summative
quiz.
assessment, formative assessment, like, we wanna get, you know.
Yeah, it just said test or examinations, and I wasn't sure what the difference was.
Well, bottom line is, even if it's just
Cheating in
answering your
general.
homework.
On an assessment, cause
So-
assessment could be a written piece,
Well,
like if
I
I'm
know
asking.
where you're, yeah, could we just take that all together and just say constitutes cheating? Cause I don't know that it has to be a test or exam, plagiarism on a paper. Like now you're, well, it wasn't a test, it was a final paper, well, I counted it as a project, and project's still in my test category, I mean, we're gonna get hung up in semantics and we don't wanna go.
Or say assignments and
Mhm.
Assessments, yeah.
so then they know.
It was my group project presentation, and I used my brother's from last year, you know, but it's a project, therefore. It doesn't need a plagiarism. Close the loopholes, right?
Class time.
I don't know if you wanna limit to class time.
Can you just say, I mean, if you just, ended after cheating, that would constitute, or contribute or constitute cheating shall be subject to discipline, and take out the on test or examination.
Is that another, you wanna tie it to just class time, cause if they're using their device to plagiarize, you may lose the privilege
During
of
lunch.
using, and now you get to handwrite all of your papers from here on out, because you went home and plagiarized your, does that mean that you're gonna do it at home the next time with your own personal device and handwrite it? Maybe, we can't stop it, we're gonna make it all harder for you.
Okay, so what were you wanting me to change?
I was just saying, instead of adding all the language you were adding, if you just stopped at that would contribute to or constitute cheating, and take out the on tests or exams, and then shall be subject to discipline. That part would be struck, and the rest would not.
Maybe it's just somewhere around, okay?
So students found that using electronic devices to send or receive personal messages, data, or information that would contribute to or constitute cheating shall be subject to discipline, and the device shall be confiscated. Okay. And not returned until parent conference has been held.
So the only way you use the device constitutes cheating.
This is specific to cheating.
Okay. That was that word.
And then we're gonna do a protocol.
Right. Students are, okay, that's irrelevant. Students who violate this policy are subject to disciplinary action, including detention, suspension, or expulsion, administrative advice, and parents contacted. Confiscated device will be returned at the end of the school day. The device will be returned according to procedures contained in the policy. Okay. The controls on electronic communication devices contained in this policy do not apply to special education or 504 students or students with an individual education plan. On any of these or other such similar plans conflict with uses outlined.
Isn't special education?
Yeah, this whole thing.
We have done that, like, there's some redundancy, and
Yeah,
we
we
can
don't,
revamp
we don't need the
I think
individual
there
ones.
needs to be clarity, just because you have a 504 doesn't mean that you.
that you're exempt from this policy.
This is specific to monitoring devices, like
Or it
if I'm
needs
a
to be a written
diabetic or if
accommodation.
I have, so this is an accommodation, so it needs to say something around that with an IEP 504, because it's not just because you have an IEP for speech that you get to be exempt from this communication device.
Right, and we do have some accommodations written that allow for electronic devices that aren't from the school, because it really is a great device for students with visual impairments, and the parents have already purchased it, keeps us from having to spend money, makes it nice, but on the other hand, it's, there's occasionally, we've had kids where
There's
they're allowed
evidence
it.
systems, there's those types
Well,
of.
we allow
IEP,
earbuds.
individualized.
Right,
education
earbuds
plan
for kids who
or-
are gonna do speech to text, or text to speech, vice versa. And it's specific in there when they can use it, how they can.
Right.
Because
But I guess I would argue are those truly communication devices.
well, it's part of that.
So should we do a comma,
Because
because
we
I
take
would
it
also
also
put
communication,
healthcare.
not necessarily just electronic devices. So now we're talking, if we're gonna go that broad and we're eliminating anything but school issued, you're gonna wanna make sure you have the opportunity to include
That's why I
where
want
it's
that
appropriate.
Can we say maybe?
Should start with students with an IEP or 504 that establishes the specific need for advice. Will be advised.
So I don't know if it's just monitoring devices. But you may have, and the only reason I say that is, and we've had to be really careful with it because kids are trying to use their IEP or 504 as a loophole to be able to have earbuds. So I can focus better when I have earbuds and then whatever it is, an accommodation. But we have allowed it when a kid has a text to speech and when they're gonna listen to an audiobook, yes, you can go in that corner and listen to your audiobook because that is part of your accommodation, but not just to listen to music because it helps you focus. I mean, there's other accommodations we can put in there that allow them to really focus without allowing earbuds during class time.
They can still do the wired in if they're using the Chromebook. They don't have to be earbuds.
Right, but if we say no earbuds or headphones, I mean, that's just an example of a time when an IEP would have a specific accommodation that allows a student to have headphones or earbuds so that they can listen to an audiobook while others are reading silently.
So if we put
So it's not just a monitoring system.
right, so if we put, what's the old school term for, MDT, multidisciplinary teams, I don't know what team name we could use here. But I think we need to identify that child's team, whether it's the 504 team, the IEP team, or whatever, may allow accommodations for electronic devices that are aligned with identified disability or medical need.
Yes.
That's what you're talking about, and it's the team that is going to make those right decisions.
Right, like the medical piece is easy. I need to be able to look at my phone to check my heart rate, to check my diabetes, to check those things. That's different. But I think there's a broader use of those. I know we've had electronic devices like say we're eliminating those now that were specifically designed for kids with visual impairments because they're.
But I guess in my mind, if that's funneled through the IEP, then it's funneled through the school at that point because it's not that we're bringing in an outside contractor. Like when we do an FM system, Kelsey's contracting with somebody to bring some of those pieces in. So in my mind, that's part of that school device.
But sometimes there's what she said, parents have already purchased the device, so then we don't have to go out and purchase it. Now it's
their personal device, and they or they found something that they think is super helpful, and they ask in a meeting, hey, we have this device. This is what it does. Here's the restriction. The team decides whether it can or can't be, but I just think it's bigger than just the one or two of the FM systems or the cell phone
we
piece.
still have this communication device, so.
But I think we talked about changing it to just electronic devices. At the beginning, at the very beginning, we talked about that. I think we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Monitoring devices are coming with the language of.
you want to put instead of within and, it should be within and visualize. New student who has accommodations identified within the individualized education plan or section 504.
May.
Shall meet with their school team, and you can just call it a school team. I don't know what else you can call it, we're now gonna make up names.
Educational team.
We don't use MDT anymore, we don't use
Well,
it
it
would
would be.
It's a 504 team, it's an IEP
Exactly.
team, it's a health plan team, it's whatever.
their educational team,
Their educational team.
which includes parents.
Yeah, fair. Hopefully it comes.
Appropriate,
Appropriate use
That accommodation.
or appropriate use of devices.
well, it's not the use of the devices, it's the
Access
devices
to.
themselves, it's access to the device. Yeah, that blue was weird.
That was part of why I was like,
So instead,
hoping
right,
that we just
instead of monitoring devices, can we just do electronic devices?
Electronic devices.
At the very front of
Very
that
first
paragraph. Well, because what I was saying is electronic or monitoring devices are excluded because we were talking about.
That's
so,
just specific to So you could break this into
That's
two
what she, I think that's what,
paragraphs.
she's definitely brought
Yeah,
in
so
some
if you're
thoughts.
just saying monitoring devices accommodated, so then that just covers like art stuff, you know,
Backgrounds, yeah.
yeah. And then any student has accommodations identified in an individualized plan to meet with their team, so then there's those exceptions to the
Like
rule.
if there's.
I like those separated out.
Okay.
Do we want to say through or within? Are you talking visualized? Monitoring devices accommodated within, or use of monitoring devices accommodated within an individualized
Last paragraph.
plan. The language of it just kind of.
Wonderful about that.
Not that one.
No, the use of monitoring devices accommodated within an individualized plan, health plan, or private or public school.
Oh, gotcha.
Instead of
Through, say within.
Finally, the district shall not be responsible for loss of theft or destruction of premises or property.
personal electronic devices.
Personal electronic devices not on the school property.
And that there's a percent. Remember when I was in school, I had kid drawing an iPad because her books were on the iPad. Got lost. And the parents wanted to be paid for it.
That was accidental damage too.
Might as well try to somebody else pay for it.
That's right.
Or we call it electronic devices procedures. Okay. Because
If the policy's electronic devices.
Did we change the topic at the very top also?
Yep.
I was thinking, because the 3270P is acceptable use of electronic networks.
Oh, so we could do acceptable use of electronic devices.
Oh, that would be good.
Maybe that's
There we go. And then if we need to rename it, we can. Okay, so this one is gonna go with the board, and we're gonna have a little chitty chat.
Midnight 27, and then we'll bring it back on Thursday, and then.
Yeah.
After review.
Now, if the board is like, no, we think everything's, let them have it all, then it can just go out for survey right then, right there. Or you could just ask for guidance if it should go out for survey, because the board could make the changes and say, send it out for surgery. Surgery. Or survey. So that is be.
The only problem would be is, that would be Tuesday night, and it's a policy on Thursday, so I don't know if you would do like 2 days. Kicker is most people, I don't like give feedback in the first 2 days. So is that okay?
As long as it goes out for survey.
Okay.
That's.
I suppose if we come back and we don't have any feedback, we don't have to
We
decide.
table it and allow
A little bit more time. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't dissected all of it, but I feel like I normally will pull it up and then I check in the first couple of days and I get feedback and then. Yeah.
I see it, deal with it, or I
Deal with it.
or I don't forget about it.
Exactly, because you move on then to the next one.
Yeah, and see if I can go legally, yes, we're thinking about how should be part of this not allowed, or we can, whatever they decide, once they've decided that, I think it just should go up and we can move forward, because you're gonna get feedback on this, probably good, bad, on both sides, so there's gonna be some that are like, absolutely this needs to happen, and others are like, you can't take these things away from my kid.
You might get more parent feedback.
Yes. This could be a problem.
You know, I would tell you that it could have
becoming a thing, for sure.
So I'll say
They're
Rick,
recognizing
he
the
did the
problem and
whole-
experiencing it themselves, so.
enforce the protect the classroom thing last year, and out of the number of cell phone violations we had, parent phone calls we made, I would say 90, I have to look at the data, but at least 90% of the parents were appreciative, thankful, some of them were like, oh, second time, I had to come get it, I'll keep it for a week, or, really, it's not convenient for me today, and I stay with you until, so they were much more like, oh, I appreciate the message you're sending, I will reiterate it back to those with you, that were like, I didn't take it, it's kind of like,
So this is community relations, volunteer assistance. Right. We don't have access to it. So what I am curious about though is,
I did put in a number of examples of their work to do it. They have an excellent application process, and they also have an assistance process. So I did link in that so we could get some guidance, but
okay. Well, we had, looks like we didn't have an application on here. Okay. Was that just done in the building? Okay. Which it may be appropriate to put the application on the website as well, so parents know, oh, I can go do it right here. All right. The district recognizes the valuable contribution to the total school program made by parents and other citizens through volunteer assistance. For working with volunteers, district staff shall clearly explain the volunteer's responsibility in school, on the playground, and on field trips. On field trips, both students and volunteers are to be informed of the rules, student behavior, and how they are to be held accountable to those rules. Okay. The definition of a volunteer. Volunteers are people who assist in school or district programs. They are encouraged to use their time and effort to support these programs. A volunteer shall be an individual who has not entered into any express or implied compensation agreement with the district, is excluded from the definition of employee under appropriate state and federal statutes, may be paid expenses, reasonable benefits, and or nominal fees in some situations. Like what kind of situations?
They're just saying that a volunteer doesn't get paid.
But we're saying they may be paid. Yeah.
but I was thinking like if they,
Oh, that I don't
would
know.
it be able, like, okay, we will reimburse you for your, with your reimbursement.
I have never paid a volunteer for anything. Yeah, I mean, a volunteer is.
If they pay to get themselves into Silverwood to help monitor students, maybe we should reimburse, like a ticket or something like that.
But the district have bought their ticket into Silverwood when they're volunteering as a parent. I know that,
Well,
That could be, but we're not actually paying to them.
but no, this is maybe paid expenses, so that's not paying them, they're paying for their expense.
But what expenses would a volunteer have?
Maybe if they're coming in to teach students something, I'm just thinking, like, sew a pillow with them, we're gonna pay for all of the materials, and, or if you have to purchase something, well, you get the kids something for all the kids, we'll reimburse you, I don't know, I'm just guessing.
No, I hear you, does that happen?
No?
It may happen, but it's
It
not
could.
necessarily gonna be like,
Great
I
devil's
as the teacher, are gonna provide the supplies,
Right.
and the volunteer.
So we have several schools who have brought volunteers in who have done those tile projects. John Brown, Big Keeper, Norwood. And we actually paid for the materials, and then the person who's volunteered them time to teach the kids. The only thing I can think of, and Shannon makes a good point, is if you have if you're doing a field trip somewhere that requires an admission fee, that you may and the parent volunteers, so you have enough chaperones, but you're still not paying it to them. We're paying it to the agency on behalf of them, but we're not paying them.
We're not giving them money to provide it to them.
They've not
I think even when
they've
we
never expended the money to be paid.
Right, and in most cases, when you do the, if there's a tickets to the theater or something in those things, you get X number of adult tickets for the 10 kids, and usually there's not an expense involved, but.
I would tell you, I feel like we need to just not even have that language in there, because in order to pay somebody, as we just learned, you actually have to have a, whatever. Yes, and you have to become a vendor, right, have to be in our system. We just don't go through that process, so I would strike that. Any expenses that are attributed to a volunteer.
Well, I was hung up on the reasonable benefits, because what does that mean?
Yeah, that I could come up with examples of some of the others, that one I would struggle to come up with.
So, I mean, those two, the first and the third, are actually mutually exclusive of each other.
I thought the same thing. Like, why are they
contradict each other?
Well, and second and fourth ones.
So you,
why you do
that one is actually okay, because you could have somebody who works for Chartwell's at lunchtime who's a parent, who's gonna come outside of their lunchtime duties and volunteer in the classroom and not volunteer as an employee, but volunteer as a parent.
Okay.
So I would leave that one. So they're not employed by the district. So, but the way I'm reading that is, I'm a paraprofessional in Shannon's classroom as some employee of the district employee. I can't be a volunteer in Shannon's classroom and get paid for the para. So if I work for the district, I can't be volunteering in the same capacity ever.
Unless I prepare volunteers for the read my kids.
Para's not acting as a parent volunteer at that point, they're working as an employee. But we do
that person who didn't fill out the timesheet.
Right. But we do have situations where part-time parents who do, they're working more than the volunteering. I think that's what that's saying.
And that person's going to volunteer at an after school too, or go rather than volunteer for the high school.
John Brown's got new duty, and that's it, so they're there for 2 hours, but they're parents.
Yeah, so then they stay for extra.
Okay.
They go through the factor, but we haven't actually had them fingerprinted.
So this is why we brought this policy back, because there wasn't consistency on, when we, the kids that come out for all volunteers, recognizing that we never leave kids unsupervised? Or are we designating that, if you're volunteering in the classroom, then it's Raptor, but if you are like a chaperone at Silverwood,
Then it's
you're
background
gonna be
check.
fine, then it's background checks, the policy doesn't, it needs to be more clear on that.
Well, I don't understand why, well, I guess that would be extreme. But to me, if you're gonna volunteer, I mean, all employees have to go through the clearance. All,
All
yeah,
student teachers, all interns.
right. I think the only ones we don't do that with is our vendors, because they're contracted services, correct? Or do our vendors
It
also?
depends if the vendor is in the school, so
Like an SLP contractor, like that you're thinking.
more like Leo's photography.
I'm thinking any vendor.
Well, they're all fingerprinted.
Yeah.
But there are circumstances like when Leo's comes into the school to do school pictures, we don't fingerprint them. We don't background check them. I'm not even sure that we put them through Raptor at this point. So I think we need some clarity.
We have careers class also, and they ask for people to come and speak about their careers on things.
That would be a
That would be-
speaker.
And
It's
that
different.
would, and that would
I don't
be-
know, I mean, it just is like, do you need to,
volunteer.
is a guest speaker considered volunteer? Would they also need to be, because
I
again,
guess
they're
in
not
the-
unsupervised.
Well, that's
I
where,
think that's
that's
what we
where
have
it
to
goes
look
back to is, in my mind, if you are gonna have, if you were in the vicinity of kids, 100% they should have to go to the after. And so then the question is, are we saying unsupervised, then not to do background check, or are we saying everybody? Because
High
if
school
you're
doesn't
just a
have
guest,
that.
if you're a guest speaker, you're coming in a classroom.
That's what I'm saying, so
with
our
kids,
cases.
you're never by yourself with kids. I think Raptor's important, but do we want them to be full on fingerprinted?
I think it's like $27. Yeah, and.
A person. Okay. But wouldn't that be something that we could collect from the volunteer?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we have, families who can't afford it, we have a value from them to.
I mean,
Because you don't want to necessarily.
we don't wanna-
volunteers, you don't want to discourage
Right.
volunteers based on financially, but we also want to make sure that we have safeguards. Yes.
Right.
Yep. So I do think if we differentiate between unsupervised and supervised, and if we make it clear, unsupervised all have to go through Raptor, which means secondary is we now have to figure that piece out, or what does it look like for secondary, unsupervised, what does it look like for elementary,
That's why we wanted
unsupervised?
this policy to come back.
What
around,
is he-
because there isn't clarity.
What is Raptor?
Raptor is attached to the state and federal database for sexual offenders, registered sex offenders. So it's a little scanner thing, and so they, admin assistant puts their driver's license through it, and if they are a registered sex offender on that computer screen, they get a big red
Okay.
alert. And then they're told that, they'll have to come to the district office and have a conversation with the superintendent before it can be approved. Because sometimes people are on that because when they were 18, their boyfriend was 16 or whatever. So, they have to come and explain the situation, and then we make decisions to whether or not they allow them in. But that's the only database. So when you do the fingerprinting, obviously that goes through all,
Right.
all databases.
Does Raptor cost us?
I don't even.
Is it a year?
It's just when we bought the machine. I don't know that we pay an annual.
Isn't that public record? You could type anybody's name in there and see if they pop up, right?
It's just.
Or see where
that's-
they are actually living. I mean, there's a way to see that for general population.
Does every school have access to? Okay.
So what we have been doing, like Jimmy called me once and said, we got this guest speaker, I want them to be cleared, how do we do that? And I asked him to send them to John Brown, and I let Anna know, and they just run them through Raptor for us.
How much is Raptor? The device.
I don't know, I'm gonna say it's.
so long.
probably like $15. I mean, it's definitely, but it's a one-time cost.
No, I know. That's a significant investment for 4 schools.
Well, and the reason we didn't do it is because when you look at the number of parent volunteers at secondary
It's
level,
way different secondary,
They-
it just changes if we're talking about.
they just don't have them. So when it's a one-off like that, where I've got somebody coming in who's gonna talk about law enforcement for kids who are in
So here's the
whatever.
other, like when we have colleges that come in and do, call it like we present, or our recruiters come in, we have like our hallways at lunchtime. We'll be accessible to some of those, some of the recruiters to do their career. Like those people come in, they sign in, they do all of our protocols for our visitor on campus. But we don't run into Raptor, and so we're gonna say it's the exact same people do Raptor, so it's not like that. Or, but I just know we do have visitors on campus, they're not volunteers. And we might only be there for like
This,
lunch.
in my mind,
But,
this is encompassing visitors as well.
right, that's what I'm saying, what our practice is very different than elementary and when we allow visitors on campus. We don't have a means to do, and I don't think we're not sending every one of our recruiters to John Brown to have that background. And they don't always send the same recruiter. If they send somebody once a month, it's consistent, but it's gonna be a rotation of 4 or 5, we need to,
Probably need to work on.
Well,
We definitely have to
cost of what Raptor is, but I just, you know, we just have to decide, are we saying any non-employee essentially is gonna be ran to the Raptor, they're gonna be around kids.
But we have parents come in to watch their kids get an award.
Right.
I mean, and that's, so that, you're talking about that as well, or just
So
when
we
they're
don't
alone with
typically-
kids?
Yeah. If they're gonna be interacting, like if it's for an assembly, we don't, you know.
Cause everybody's contained in one gym
Right.
at one time. It's easy to have eyes on things, but.
It's really that you're gonna be in a classroom, you're speaking, you're interacting, you're, you know, we're not leaving you necessarily alone, but you are navigating. Yeah, they have, I just do wanna mix it, they have some good things, I mean, I think it might be helpful side by side to,
Yeah.
they have some good ones. Some good suggestions, and I can pull up a whole lot of districts. If that's helpful.
Yeah, cause it looks similar.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any cross references down here whatsoever, which we should, like, there's,
They do, yeah.
yeah.
Can we, because we're, I mean, we're not necessarily just talking, I guess you could say that our guest speaker is a volunteer, and that the recruiters are volunteers.
You could change this to visitor slash volunteer.
Volunteer visitor. Okay, this is saying criminal history checks for individuals having contact with students. That's volunteers. That's all volunteers, regardless.
Everybody has to have a background check, which is not just Raptor, that's.
Right.
Some sort of.
And these change on a yearly basis, but right now I think they're about 27.
And that would be part of, we just would add that to the application, that, based on that, we'll come 130. Anybody interacting with students must have a criminal background check, and here are the steps to.
So then I guess the other question I would have is, so then why Raptor? I mean, if everybody has to, then why even have Raptor? I mean, I don't know what our cost is, but if we ever had to renew, or if there is an ongoing annual fee, why Raptor if we're gonna do this?
Well,
Is there a
Times
scenario
when
where?
students are signing out by field therapies, that we might have this in the middle or whatever, something that they have to do.
Yeah, but if it's parent with permission, you're not Raptor those parents, those people.
They're on the list.
They're just picking up the kid? But if
if
they're gonna.
if the parents can.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, now, if that person was wanting to come to the classroom, then we would, but now we're saying you can't without a background. Which then makes our volunteer, I mean, we have, like, I'm thinking about, we have a lot of kinder moms that, you know, life is happening, and we've had situations where last minute they're trying to come in and do the orientation. We do have a volunteer, and, this would, that takes a little bit more time.
Well, this is saying though, and on all individuals who have supervised contact with students.
So that's an unsupervised piece.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we've always
Right.
said, so.
So we have the policy, so we don't have visitors, never supervised.
Well, but you do have situations at the elementary level where you are going on a field trip. And, I've assigned Michelle 3 children to supervise for the entire day, and they're not necessarily walking with everybody else, because there are certain.
We're taking them into the back room.
Right. In there, yep. that when you, I think we just put it right on the application that if you are just going to volunteer in the school in the classroom, you have to go through after. But if you have any intention at all of participating in a field trip, you have to do it. And then
Well,
you would know ahead of time to get it done.
I guess, do you feel like this might be a worthwhile board discussion as far as, because if we, I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we need to give, as a governance, we need to give direction on the expectation for making sure that everybody's doing the same thing and the expectation of people within the government.
especially if we're saying that, even supervised drafters, and we're talking about potential costs to,
Right.
Or, again, I think we have the means to have a meetings director because at every one of our secondary schools, there's an elementary school right there.
but when you're talking about recruiters and scholarship people.
They all know ahead of time they're coming, and so the conversation that is
Prior
prior
to,
to,
what's gonna happen
go to.
She sets all that.
yeah, prior to coming to Lincoln High School, you need to go to John Brown and, you know, we could do that.
How do you know if somebody's been fingerprinted? You just are,
Right,
bringing proof.
she email to us or something, like,
But what if somebody's already gone through that
Done
process?
that
And they say, oh yeah, I've already done that. How do you know?
We can look them up.
You
So,
can.
Have to, you real quick after Garner, I just,
they have to go through, I only know this because of my Debbie was doing all her substitute teaching. She had to be fingerprinted for everything, like even though she'd been fingerprinted at Post Falls, she couldn't, and then she was a volunteer coach at Post Falls for 2 years. Her volunteer coaching fingerprint was different than a substitute, and it was the same district. So she
That's
paid,
crazy.
she paid to have
It is.
fingerprints done at 4 different ways because of all.
There's not a database.
There's a common database, but it doesn't matter. Each
Yeah.
entity has to have its own set of fingerprints.
they're separated.
Part of it is also a liability issue.
yeah.
Because if you're just trusting that somebody else somewhere
That's
else.
what I was wondering. They think, oh yeah, I've been through that process. How do we know?
Yeah,
I
they
still
I
like
could look it up.
Not that I'm advocating for more cost, but I do think we need to be mindful of, I'm sure that there were times of the year when you're gonna overwhelm, like, let's just say it's Lincoln High School, you're gonna overwhelm John Brown with the raptor if you have high school people. I mean, there could be 20 people coming in because they have a big event happening, and everybody happens to show up, and I mean, it could overwhelm some of the elementary or spirit.
For when we do, like the day we do our college of career.
Right.
There's a
I
lot of
can
people
go
that-
ask, do you want me to go ask, and then she can pull up our.
So I guess the other catch with that is,
We only have 5 minutes left.
and the other piece of that is like if we've got a college and career day, which is, they come in the day up, and sometimes they're coming from Pocatello, or they're coming from, they could come from all over the place. I know that they've had, you know, they're not local to be able to go in ahead of time and do that, so now they're having to Joe Brown before they come to us.
Gotta get a quote.
I just think whatever we write, if we're gonna say that, we need to be mindful of that, to put some stress on the office.
Well, in the day, it's like in the moment right then, and then going across, because we do have some of those, probably the best example would be our college visits, because they're coming from out of state in some cases, and they come back, and they're on a rotation, they're gonna hit our high school, and then they're gonna hit next high school, to have to go to John Brown before they do that. That's just, there's a time piece that we have to factor in when we are.
Probably need to let those people know that they're gonna have to put their driver's license through a rapid program so that if they have somebody comes back who maybe won't pass the muster.
They send them over
They
there.
send them here, so. I don't know that, I don't think
I don't think they
colleges, I don't think colleges have to do background check.
So we only have like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So can you table this? Do you want me to get some other examples, or do you wanna just stick to the one that I gave you?
You know, if you wanna see if there's any other, okay, that's fine. But what I'm curious about is if the safety grant money would apply to purchasing tractors, at least, I mean, I think every building should have one. But, it sounds like high school needs it more of a priority than middle, but middle still needs it because we do have people that come on campus. And I think that
We should have, I think we're doing the state safety grants again, so this first round is $20,000 $5,000 for each site, and they get to submit those grants based on what their vulnerabilities are through their state assessment. But then also,
They should have grants that are made
but, but they could put Raptor on it.
Yeah, good point.
It would fit.
But we can see if there's any impact, even on the cost, if it's like, yeah, we can
$5,000 for
If we can find, if we can find the money to
that would be
outfit, yeah, the schools, I think that would be pertinent to the direction of this.
It's food and electric.
Well,
Those are those grants, so we could start out there with upgrades. So we could submit a grant on our 5 secondary schools. Um, what's the oh,
Yeah, I think that would be paramount to just adding another layer of security for everyone. You know, because then you know that you know. I mean, you know that you know as long as you know that they've done their part. Because if they've avoided registering, then you know you're not there. So, right.
So then, I guess I would say.
the other part is that when we come back to this, that we need to make sure it's very clear is that this is an annual thing, so each year we start over, so you have to do the after these things change.
Right. Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. And that would probably be here on the procedures. So y'all mentioned changing not just volunteer, but making it.
Volunteer/visitor.
So you have a policy specifically in schools for volunteers? But it's literally 2 paragraphs, so.
Yeah, we'll link it in with this to figure out what language that says.
We have
And
okay,
okay, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and